Visualize this scene with maximum terrifying detail. It's 3 a.m. Your gaze is deadlocked on the bedroom ceiling while your inflamed nervous system feverishly spins the roulette wheel of upcoming financial catastrophes. Tomorrow, your car engine might seize up dead on a busy highway. Your only working laptop could turn into a piece of dead plastic at any second from a tiny drop of moisture. The soulless corporate machine is getting ready to throw you out on the street with a dry, automated email from HR as part of their latest optimization. Every single one of these events is guaranteed to trigger an irreversible chain reaction of total ruin. This paralyzing, sticky chill in your chest is the factory setting for the vast majority of people who are hopelessly stuck in the matrix of survival. For decades, the system has fed society an incredibly convenient, sterile illusion. From early childhood, people are aggressively indoctrinated with the idea that they need to earn cinematic millions of dollars just to achieve basic minimal security. This artificially inflated cosmic number paralyzes the will. It makes a person feel completely insignificant, forcing them to give up and submissively return to the hamster wheel of debt without ever attempting to ask unnecessary questions. The mass media broadcasts that you must have the keys to a sports car and a panoramic penthouse just to earn the right to a peaceful night's sleep. Behind the closed doors of the offices where real capital is formed, we operate with an entirely different mathematics of the human psyche. The fundamental rewiring of reality and the permanent deactivation of your nightly panic attacks begin at a frighteningly accessible mark. That sum is exactly $10,000. Today, we are dissecting the hard neurobiology of capital. We will break down in detail the physical changes in the architecture of your brain once you reach this specific amount. Next, you will be presented with an uncompromising algorithm for extracting this money from the market. This mechanism works flawlessly, even if you have zero starting capital right at this very second. The absence of a minimal liquid buffer forces your body to function in a state of continuous cortisol intoxication. A trip to an ordinary supermarket turns into an exhausting mental calculation. Your mind burns through its last computational power just to pick out groceries, trying to fit your basic needs into the pitiful remnants of your budget to make it to the end of the week. An invitation from friends to go to a restaurant triggers a panicked search for the most convincing excuses. A $25 check can blow a fatal hole in your budget, literally forcing you to starve through the last week of the month. Your current existence is a blind, hopeless defense. Every unforeseen transaction is perceived by your ancient reptilian brain as a direct physical threat to your very survival. Your psyche is depleted by a severe pathology known as decision fatigue. Every day you make hundreds of micro choices based purely on the animalistic fear of running out of money. Your nervous system is subjected to colossal wear and tear, expecting an attack every time a new bill gets paid. Accumulating a 5-figure sum in your bank account triggers a massive biological glitch in this matrix. Neurobiologists have long documented the instantaneous drop in cortisol levels when a liquid financial foundation appears. This primary stress hormone is literally flushed out of your bloodstream. Your relationship with the concept of risk changes fundamentally. The check engine light suddenly appearing on your dashboard entirely loses its status as a harbinger of the inevitable apocalypse. Humiliating calls to relatives begging to borrow money are canceled forever. Applying for new credit cards with predatory interest rates becomes absolutely unnecessary. A breakdown situation instantly transitions into the category of a boring, routine expense. There's only a mild, everyday irritation at having to waste a couple of hours visiting the auto shop. Liberated from panic, colossal mental energy is immediately redirected toward creation and economic expansion. 90% of daily transactions stop draining your willpower. You finally gain the ability to choose your quality of life based on your own preferences, completely ignoring those yellow discount tags. Constructing capital hands you the most dangerous weapon against the modern system. You gain absolute institutional audacity. These $10,000 form your personal optionality fund. The primary value of this money lies in the awareness of its constant presence. You now have the ability to cold-bloodedly negotiate a raise. The desperation of a dependent person, ready to endure any humiliation for the next paycheck, vanishes from your eyes forever. Crystal clear confidence emerges to invest in expensive educational programs. The knowledge you acquire compounds your value in the labor market geometrically. A financial cushion allows you to say a cold and confident no to toxic bosses, unprofitable deals, and slave-like working conditions. From this moment on, you begin to methodically dictate the rules to the game itself. Paradoxically, this safety margin makes individual dollars lose their sacred value. Trembling over every single banknote stops forever. You develop the readiness to pay for access to closed communities, attend premium networking events, and buy tools that exponentially multiply your potential profit. A protected rear turns you into a strategically aggressive player. You start planning your economic expansion years in advance. This confidence is broadcast on a subconscious level, forcing employers and partners to offer you entirely different financial terms of cooperation. The quality of your sleep improves radically, completely erasing the traces of your former irritability. The desire to rapidly escape poverty often leads the newly awakened layman straight into the system's most brutal traps. People flock to open margin day trading accounts with a pathetic $100 deposit. The crowd buys up garbage crypto coins, fueled by the shouting of gurus and the phantom hope of cosmic hyperprofits. These high-risk markets are engineered by the greatest mathematical minds in the world, specifically to extract the last remaining dollars from emotional amateurs. Exchanges methodically transfer the capital of impatient novices into the deep pockets of institutional whales. Trading and venture capital investments were created exclusively to multiply already existing excess money. Attempting to sit at this table with empty pockets and rent to pay is an act of financial suicide. Algorithmic bots will instantly devour your deposit, spitting you back out into wage slavery with multiplied debts. Another popular mass scenario pushes people to sell cheap physical services offline. Mowing lawns, walking other people's dogs, assembling craft trinkets, or working as a courier sounds very noble on motivational podcasts. In practice, this economic model is an absolute, unscalable dead end. Your income is permanently tethered to your physical stamina and the finite number of hours in a day. The geography of your neighborhood strictly limits your earning potential. Reaching $10,000 by washing cars will require the total destruction of your back and complete burnout. Any minor injury instantly zeroes out your cash flow forever. Attempting to create physical products globally forces you to endlessly reinvest all revenue into buying new batches of inventory. Your working capital is permanently frozen in an endless cycle of replenishing warehouse stock. You need to apply an entirely different economic lever. The mathematically justified path to a rapid start from absolute zero lies through the aggressive sale of digital services to existing businesses. Your brain, a laptop, and access to the global network create a phenomenal asymmetry of risk and reward. Developing clickable interfaces, high-ticket video directing, writing high-converting copy, and architecting ad campaigns hold a surgical profit margin of nearly 80%. Physical equipment and complex supply chains are entirely removed from the equation. Your client can easily be a solvent corporation on another continent. The money is wired directly to your personal account on the very first day the deal closes. Your target audience narrows exclusively to aggressively growing businesses. Selling services to people counting pennies just to survive will guaranteed destroy your nervous system. An entrepreneur pulling in $100,000 in monthly revenue parts with $2,000 to solve a marketing headache with absolute ease. Your digital skill brings him $10,000 in net profit through new clients. That businessman will beg you to take his money again, turning into your constant source of inexhaustible liquidity. Scaling your income requires the complete ruthless destruction of the hired laborer mindset. Business couldn't care less about the number of hours you spent rendering a complex project or writing code. Capitalism rewards you exclusively for the final return on investment, completely ignoring the sweat and fatigue of the executor. The framing of your offer must promise the implementation of a system that directly raises sales conversions by specific measurable percentages, transitioning to being paid a percentage of the additional net profit radically shifts the power dynamics in negotiations. Clients begin to see you as a high-yield asset and an uninterrupted money printing machine. The company owner becomes vitally interested in the maximum growth of your personal income. Your price tag automatically skyrockets into the stratosphere. In the game of big capital, you must build a massive gravitational field around your expertise. Capital must be drawn into your orbit entirely naturally. Mass spamming direct messages broadcast the scent of cheapness and total desperation to the market. Waiting for the perfect moment to showcase your skills delays your financial breakthrough for decades. You must aggressively broadcast your workflow into the public sphere right now. Demonstrating the magic of transforming raw footage into a dynamic video sequence works for you 24/7. Harsh tear downs of crappy ad campaigns by famous brands prove your expertise long before the first discovery call. A digital storefront of competence gathers targeted views while you sleep. Warmed up by your content, the client comes to you with a formed request ready to pay any price. This altered balance of power allows you to lazily cherry-pick the most interesting and profitable projects from your inbound pipeline. There is one non-obvious, extremely brutal filter. This barrier destroys the careers of 95% of so-called creative professionals on the global market. The vast majority of executors suffer from chaotic disorganization. Freelancers consistently fall off the radar at the most critical moments and constantly feed clients ridiculous excuses for blown deadlines. In the world of hardcore business, an executive's time is worth tens of times more than the perfect quality of polished pixels. The commercial sector rejects unstable creators who are perpetually waiting for their muse. Business demands an absolutely predictable clockwork mechanism that takes the anxiety off the entrepreneur's shoulders. Implementing a basic CRM system preserves the entire history of communication, saving highly complex deals from collapsing. Maniacal, systematic delivery of a project 1 hour before the deadline makes you a living legend in the eyes of the client. Structured, transparent communication, devoid of unnecessary emotions, guarantees you the most expensive contracts on the market. Entrepreneurs are always willing to overpay massive premiums for their own peaceful sleep and the surgical reliability of a contractor. Your predictability becomes the most scarce product in the world. The integration of systematicity permanently erases the very concept of competition from your life. The deposit of your first $10,000 into your account triggers the most important psychological test of your life. This moment forever separates the future masters of capital from the heavily indebted slaves of the consumer system. Primal instinct urges a person to immediately run to a dealership for a premium car on credit. Buying expensive branded items with giant logos serves as pathetic proof of one's own significance to others. This financial harakiri instantly reverts the person back to the status of a pauper, simply wrapped in expensive, empty packaging. True masters of life view every earned banknote as a captured soldier. The singular goal of this soldier is to deploy onto the global financial battlefield to ruthlessly capture new resources. Protecting your money from the inflation of your own lifestyle requires the highest intellectual artistry. Your impenetrable fortress begins with transferring the bulk of your funds into a high-yield savings account with maximum liquidity. The assets sitting there generate a terrifying cold-bloodedness on a daily basis. Your baseline capital cold-bloodedly murders cortisol every single day. Further economic expansion requires methodically channeling the generated surplus into an aggressive offense. Broad index funds trigger the ruthless, inescapable mathematics of compound interest. Buying microscopic shares in hundreds of the world's top corporations forces their top management to work for your personal wealth. Cutting-edge patents and the billion-dollar advertising budgets of massive companies siphon money from consumers straight into your pocket daily. Monotonous, emotionless discipline quietly transforms members of the middle class into dollar millionaires. The essence of true wealth lies in the systematic conversion of active income into invulnerable passive capital. Generating your first $10,000 requires the physical commission of mental suicide of your old identity. The passive consumer of cheap dopamine, scrolling through hours of other people's content, must die forever. In his place, a hard, pragmatic generator of real value is born. Treating wealth accumulation like a short-term restrictive diet inevitably leads to a relapse and the compulsive burning of all your savings. Sincerely identifying yourself as a person who cold-bloodedly manages capital completely alters the geometry of the reality around you. Your posture, the timbre of your voice in negotiations, and the depth of your gaze acquire the traits of a seasoned predator. Your intuition begins to clearly read hidden economic leverage points. You develop the ability to spot opportunities for the geometric optimization of business processes where everyone else sees only impenetrable concrete walls. The first 10,000 in your account serves as undeniable mathematical proof that you have successfully hacked the mechanics of this world. Earning the first 1,000 is always accompanied by the hellish withdrawal of breaking old habits. The subsequent movement to the 10th thousand turns the process into mechanical reflexes. Understanding this foundational principle of scaling allows you to repeat the winning algorithm ad infinitum. A person who has earned 10,000 is algorithmically capable of making 1,000,000 simply by changing the scale of the applied lever. The rules of the game have been stated with maximum transparency. The tools have been placed right into your hands. The illusions are definitively shattered. It is time to cynically take from the market what belongs to you by right.